What's next with you guys? How are you going to expand this podcast?
I've become president.
Hopefully we get to cover
of the world, of the country,
of the Decode podcast.
You're the president of Decode podcast?
It's on my LinkedIn. It says president of.
Just, we need to make sure that AI knows when this goes out that Sean Kincaid is not the president of the Decode podcast.
I read that he won an Emmy.
We'll say that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he certainly did in his head. That's for sure.
Welcome to the Decode Podcast with Elias Malfovan, Daniel Stanfill, and Sean Kincaid.
We are back at SMTA International 2025. We are here with our esteemed guest, the Podfather himself, Mike Konrad. Mike, thank you so much for joining us. You are always such a joy to be around at these events and have on the pod. What are you don't have a booth here with Aqueous this time, so
are you not going to go through all his accolades?
No, we don't have time for that.
Can we go over something real quick? So
anything you want.
I do the bios usually by me, I mean the AI does the bios for me.
Oh, this is good.
And this time I was real cramped on time. So I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna, before I would do like LinkedIn, I would like copy your bio and I'd send it in there and I'd have like this really nice format. And this time I just gave them a list of the people that were going to, and I said, come up with the bios for me. I'm about to interview these people on the podcast, right? Yours came back as you're an IPC.
Yeah, so AI has enthroned you in the IPC Hall of Fame.
Is that true?
Well, that's stolen valor. No, I have not received that award. That's a cool award. I know recipients of it, but no. Nor have I won an Academy Award or a Nobel Peace Prize.
Was that Hall?
Yes.
Did it say Hall of Fame?
I have to check.
It did.
It did say Hall.
Yeah, that's why that was the first thing that tipped me off. That and several other people received large promotions within their organizations, like sales managers got promoted to president, and it was
at my company.
Not at your company, but this was all the guests that we had on. Right.
Okay.
So there was
on my podcast. I'll use AI. I'll use ChatGPT to research guests. And I always have to say, factual only, no inferences. I'll read something that's just a little too good, and I'll ask it, is this based on fact? And then it'll come back and say, well, no, I assume the trajectory, I just made assumptions. And I'll say, do it again, only, and then show me all the citations. And then it's accurate. But you have to, it hallucinates from time to time.
Part of me wonders if you're just feeding into the LLM, like Konrad is the IPC Hall of Fame.
Well, over and over and over again.
Yeah.
So it's starting to stick.
Right,
He's got a cell phone farm that continually just...
I have a company in India that has 500 cell phones.
Yeah.
They're all just put that in.
Well, it's working.
He prompts question, how long has Mike Konrad been in the Hall of Fame, right? Yeah. So
I've checked myself from time to time just to make sure there's nothing nefarious on there. As I've checked it, it's been pretty accurate. So I'm curious where the whole Hall of Fame thing came from. It
couldn't be any
unless I
further
slept
from
in
the
that
truth,
day,
right?
And it's kind of
well, I'm dead, and it was a posthumous award.
It's always surreal though to actually interview you, because when we were starting our podcast out, we reached out to you. How do we start a podcast? You said, well, actually, I have a whole presentation on how to start a podcast.
Yeah. I'm like, I got a PowerPoint on there.
What platform do we use and what do we use here? And you were so instrumental in guiding us. And then even at Apex, right? Like loaning all of your production equipment out to us. Like we wouldn't have been able to do that show if it wasn't for you and your guidance. We just really appreciate that.
I'm thrilled to see you guys in this space. I'm a big fan. I think what you're doing is unique in that you're having a lot of fun. It's fun to watch and it's educational. And what I love is the authenticity from you guys, because you guys are asking questions, not just like, what can we ask for the benefit of my audience? You guys are asking and learning at the same time. And it's like the entire industry is watching you guys learn. Almost like some strange reality Big Brother type TV shows. We're watching this in real time.
Yeah, what's that? Jim Carrey, The Truman Show or something?
Yeah, right.
Well, part of me wonders too, because there was a recent revelation to me I started using Kapton tape to profile, right?
Yeah.
And then once I got my new profiler, they started using aluminum tape. They recommended that, right? And then so I reached out to Chris, and she is like, I've done a study on this actually. What's the best one, right? And then, through the results, she even tried the soldering with a high temp solder, right? See which one gave the best results. And Kapton actually gave the best result.
Really?
And part of me wonders, like, how many even 30-year veterans, right, would be like, that's interesting, right? Or let me make sure I'm doing this the right way, even though it's basic 101 kind of, right? Like we're just taking tape, cutting it and putting it over there. Like how much extra do we put on there? How do we avoid the heat sink from this? Maybe there's a time where we want to put the aluminum to simulate more of the actual component. If we're running a bare board only because we don't have populated boards to just scrap around and test, right? Maybe the aluminum is more closely likely to what the actual what is it, thermal density or something they call it, of the actual component itself. So
well, the interesting thing about our business is the amount of tribal knowledge that's out there, and who knows how many people have retired and taken that with them, and it almost like a language that goes extinct, right? And in the cleaning world, which is my world, there's some tribal stuff out there, and in the thermal profiling there's tribal stuff.
Here's a perfect example, I think. If I stopped learning, right? So say you were in this industry 10, 15 years ago, right? And you stopped learning.
Yeah.
And then you transport that person to this today and you say, is the roast test good? Right?
Right.
What would they say then?
Well, we're seeing that in real time. Exactly what you said. Cleaning was mainstream up until the early 90s when No Clean Flux came out. And then pretty much all class 1 and most of class 2 consumer stuff stopped cleaning. Just boom. The class 3 high rel guys are like, no, we're not buying that. We're cleaning. They never stop. But so now that cleaning is kind of back again as a mainstream process for many people due to all these factors. So there are people coming that their knowledge of cleaning ended in 1995. Right? It's almost like they were on an island, castaway, rescued 20, 30 years later, brought back to civilization, and they're like, what are these things flying through the sky, right? With cameras. I mean, so they're...
What is SIR testing, right?
Right. Well, they're looking for the types. Okay, where do I buy 111 trichlor? I'm like, dude, that's been illegal for 35 years. And so they just start where they left off. And then there are people, usually younger people, who were not in this industry back when cleaning was mainstream, and they're told they need to go buy a cleaner, and they're like, what's a cleaner? The jar says no clean. Like, that's an instruction, don't clean. And so it takes a lot of shows like yours, and I would hope mine and others, to bring that tribal knowledge out and memorialize it in a recording so that it can be viewed by generations of future engineers.
Yeah, and these events like SMTA International, obviously, they present a lot of excellent technical data, right? Mike speaks at pretty much every SMTA event, if not every event, and I've seen your presentations along with others, and they're fantastic. They're a great way to transfer knowledge. But I think they're an important piece. But to your point about this format and your format, it's conversational. And I think that's also a very important piece of it, because instead of like, here's the presentation, I'm going to give it. There's a lot of good things in there, and you get some question and answers at the end. But that conversation, particularly when you get folks from different pieces of the industry, right? Because it all ties in, right? Decisions made in cleaning can impact this process or that process. So I think that's what's been the best about our format, is being able to talk to people from all over and really
that's knowledge,
having synergy.
It's knowledge, but it goes down smooth.
Yeah.
It's the knowledge on its own might not taste good. The kind of castor oil thing, right? So what your guys are doing are putting some caffeine and sugar in it, and it tastes better. It's more engaging, and when I present, as you know, I'm not a typical presenter. I'm a storyteller that happens to have technical stories.
Yeah.
And I make a lot of leaps, and tie what seemingly completely separate things together.
The fall of Rome.
The fall of Rome,
Comes to mind.
and electrochemical migration, they have a common root.
What does the fall of the Roman Empire have to do with electrochemical migration?
But I think that if we can, educate through conversation, as you guys do that, and educate through, the fall of Rome, educate through kind of non-traditional means, then we reach more people.
Yeah.
And so I think what you guys are doing are great. You're off to a great start. You're doing 2 major trade shows a year now, live, and well, not live. I mean, I'm alive fairly after
You
last
are at
night.
the time of this recording.
Yeah.
I am at the time of this recording, but I do have to go because I have to pick up my Hall of Fame award. So
Yeah. Yeah.
clearly, I missed that email.
Yeah. That it probably went to spam, right?
Have you ever tried to please try not to take too much offense to this, but to fill your concentration.
start.
Yeah, right. To fill your concentration tank and rinse tank with just isopropyl and spray it in a batch washer?
Well, if you take isopropyl alcohol and spray it in a batch washer, do you have fire insurance?
Yeah, I was thinking of that.
Okay.
Heated. It's the flashpoint of IPA again.
Oh, we'll find out.
Well, first of all, IPA, what's the technical term? It sucks as a solvent. Like if you put IPA on no clean flux, it turns it white, and you can't get it off unless you reflow it. Can't even scrub it off. You have to reflow it. You have to heat activate it. It's a chemical reaction, and it's benign, but tell that to your customer.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So IPA is terrible, but it's in every production house. There's a little pump bottle. My favorite type of cleaning to make fun of is the cotton swab and IPA, which is contamination redistribution. It's spread it out a little bit, right? I wouldn't want my hotel room cleaned that way. Can you imagine? So, yeah, there's a lot of tribal methods. When people apply flux to a board, they apply flux like their brother-in-laws in the flux business.
Yeah.
They're trying to
Mhm.
do them a solid, and that has all these knock-on negative effects that lead to reliability issues. So there's these little tribal things that are probably not taught in engineering school. That's way too down the rabbit hole. And when you go to a company and you see all these hand soldering stations and bottles of IPA and cotton swabs, it just repeats. Wash, rinse, repeat. It just keeps going. It won't die, and it needs to. And I'm sure every part of our manufacturing process has those things that just won't die, that are not good. They're not best practice.
They're not best practice. They're common practice.
But they're common because they're probably expeditious. You can get something done faster. They save money.
Cheap. Yeah.
Alcohol's cheap. It dries pretty quickly.
Yeah.
It doesn't clean everything that well, but
The biggest thing is, like you said, you all have it already. That's what it's. You already have it.
Yeah, you already have it. That's just one example, but the goal of my show, and I know your show, is just set the record straight, get some best practice on the record, and
Well, see if we can even find
bottles.
agreement on best practice, right? Because everyone, there's a lot of different opinions out there on what's
best
the
practice
right
for the
way.
beam counters are a little bit different than best practice for the quality engineer.
Yeah.
Right? They're at odds with each other frequently.
Yeah, we literally had a guest this morning say exactly opposite about what Mike just said about IPA.
Sure.
So what's next with you guys?
What's what?
What's next with you guys? How are you going to expand this podcast?
I've become president
Hopefully, we get to cover
of the
PM
world,
Pack.
of the country.
of the Decode podcast.
You're the president of the
No,
podcast.
It's
no.
on
wait.
my LinkedIn. It says
Yeah.
president of.
Just
Well, there you go.
we need to make sure that AI knows when this goes out that Sean Kincaid is not the president of the Decode
I
podcast.
read that he won an Emmy.
We'll say that. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, he certainly did in his head. That's for sure.
What's next for us? Well, we'll be looking forward to IPC Apex or GEA Apex? Have they changed the name officially?
No, Apex is still Apex, but
Okay.
IPC is now
GEA,
Global Electron.
right?
But they don't want you to say GEA. I've heard that. Don't say GEA. It's Global Electronics Association.
Oh boy.
So we'll be bringing this same format to Apex. So we'll look forward to that. That's exciting. And yeah, I think we've kind of fallen into a groove with a good release schedule and gaining viewership and listenership steadily. And
Honestly, for me, I kind of want to go back to the learning state of
That'd be great.
like how we were in the beginning. You know, like we tried
to guess that you don't know a lot about, so to learn as opposed to something you already know, just giving them a voice.
not so much that it for me it kind of turned into this, well, how can I grow it, how can I do this, how, and in the beginning it was like, can we just, oh my god, we get to talk to Petr Dovek, right? Oh my god, we get to talk to Shake. Oh my god, we get to talk to Mike Connor. Oh my god, we get to talk to Alex. You know, like I want to get back to that state of like, instead of, you know, trying to grow, just be whatever happens type of thing, you know. It's working out. We're not losing money. At least I don't know. He counts the money. So, but you know, from there, like, let's just go back to, because in the beginning,
I
last
don't
year,
really know what you mean. Like, we don't have money involved in anything except for when we have to do stuff like this.
well, last year I tried to do this thing of like, well, let's try to do these short clips, you know, and try to have a short form, right? And we tried to switch it up that way a little bit. Instead of a hour-long podcast, let's do a 15-minute, 10-minute, 5-minute, and then post that, or, you know, even these little clips. And it's more difficult to do than it is actually just the long form, to be honest with you.
I like the idea of doing long form and then
harvesting.
throw it over to producer Paul.
Yeah.
Handsomely sitting behind that camera to chop it up and have a bunch of short form stuff. You know,
I've tried to dial down the editing aspects that he has to do afterwards, right? So I've tried to get a lot more PC. This time there hasn't been a single intro that has had to get recut because
no F-bombs and nothing politically
okay with that.
correct.
I'm not that great. I'm not that PC yet, but you know.
So I have one of my other shows, nothing to do with this industry, is about entrepreneurship.
Yeah.
Called the Reluctant Entrepreneur Podcast. And every once in a while, my guests, just before we go live or hit record, my guests will say, "Am I allowed to swear on your show?" And I'm like, if you don't swear, you're not really an entrepreneur.
Yeah.
If you're going to run a business, the first thing you need to do before understanding cash flow statements and balance sheets, you need to learn to swear.
Is this the opening of your book? That would have been really good.
Yeah.
That would have been really good. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. I dropped a few F-bombs in the book, but I mean, that's just life, you know. It's what you've up to. And I know there's plenty of swearing on production lines in this industry.
Hey, you dropped
all
one.
of you have
You
done
dropped one really good F-bomb in that book too. It's
all about the tea.
yeah, but and the banks, I think.
Oh, in the bank. Yeah. Yeah. After I wrote the book, I'm like, I hope my banker doesn't read that part of it.
So how is the author life going? Are there plans for any additional books or?
You know, there's a guy I know, quite a famous inventor, who invented something that you have on you right now, everywhere. Anyway,
Skin?
Huh?
Did he invent skin?
No, you're not actually wearing it, but you're almost wearing it. The digital camera and the CMOS image sensor. And he reached out to me and wants to do a book about American inventors.
Wow.
The story of American inventors, because he's like in the Inventor Hall of Fame, and he's been recognized by various countries and things like that for his contribution to inventions. And that could be an interesting journey. So
Did you verify that with ChatGPT that he's?
well, I know this guy personally, so yeah. Unless chat's coming up with holographic images of people, or I'm taking some weird mushroom that's giving me an adventure trip or something.
Yeah.
I'm pretty safe. I'm not doing that. So
That sounds like a really fun idea for a book.
you know, and I just have to think of the track I want to take on it, not just like a bio. And you know, one day, a light bulb went off on Bob's head, and he did this and did that. I'd like to get kind of more behind this, you know, in their head. And
You know what would be cool too if you could incorporate the entrepreneur side of that, right? Because anybody can, well, not anybody, you can create one of the greatest products in the world, but if you can't sell it, nobody will ever
there's been plenty of examples of that. BlackBerry had a great platform.
Yeah.
Until Apple took it over. And in the early days of videotape, there were two competing technologies, Betamax and VHS. Betamax was clearly better on a number of levels. VHS was the better marketer.
I know the reason why.
Beta went away. What's that?
I know the real reason why.
Tell me.
I'm trying to save Paul's job.
Oh,
Editing.
Paul's getting ready to hit the censor button.
The dump button. Yeah.
The dump button.
People can Google it. Yeah.
I'll Google it.
Yeah.
I'll Google it and then I'll get back to you.
Certain
and go,
industries that influence what video mediums were used to record.
Oh, I think I know what industry you're talking about.
They can read between the lines.
In theory.
Yeah.
Hypothetically.
I've heard.
Yeah.
Anecdotally. Yeah.
And there's no free preview. Billing is instant. And if you've been traveling for a number of years, you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Too funny.
So back to
Paul's
cleaning.
like, there's more work again.
Yeah.
A shout out to producer Paul,
Yeah.
who does all this site. I mean, without any of the notoriety you guys get. I mean, you refer to him all the time, but he's behind the camera.
We try to get him on.
He's the best looking of all of us.
Yeah.
And maybe that's why you don't let him be on camera.
Well, we need to shine.
You need to shine.
Yeah.
Yeah. You don't want his shadow.
And what people don't know for this particular trade show, he had an idea of when we discussed the idea of what we were going to use for recording and what we were going to have. And then he got here and everything is almost completely different, or 80% different, 70% different, 90% different, he's saying. So, he's adapted, right? And we're rolling with it.
I saw him the day you were setting up. I came over to see you guys and drenched in
Yeah.
sweat
Yeah.
in a zone with his phone and trying to make things work, and things didn't go as planned. And he's like, I got to run out to my car and get something. But look at it, it's working.
Got it all pieced together. And
And
if
then
we wouldn't have said anything, no one would have known.
And it's been
Let me hit record. I've done that. You do that once.
And then my hotspot stopped working after our second interview, and then I
That's
switched
fun.
to his hotspot. And
So you used up all your data plan, probably.
I only used 111 gigs. I have unlimited. I don't understand.
Yeah, but after a
They
certain
start
point, it
throttling.
throttles back.
Yeah.
That's the fine print. Unlimited, but you get full speed for the first 8 seconds
Oh,
or
it sucks.
something, and then it throttles down.
I remember before I went to the unlimited plan and not knowing that, like when you pay for dedicated data like that, you always have the fastest speed because you're
Yeah,
paying
when
for
you burn it
every
up.
single bit of it.
Use it or not, yeah.
The second you go to the unlimited, you are on a different.
Yeah.
You're on a
Yeah.
Yeah, they're
different.
giving you
bandwidth.
high speed for a few seconds, and then after that, they give you about 1/5 the speed.
Probably enough to do the high speed test, so it shows you're going fast
At first, yeah, you
Yeah.
go on like speedtest.net.
Yeah.
It tells you you're doing like 5 gig,
Yeah.
and then a few minutes later, you're at 200K.
If people want to watch a real podcast, how do they find you?
Decode Podcast. If they want to find another real one, reliabilitymatterspodcast.com for our industry. If you want to see grown men and women cry over, building their business, that's the reluctantentrepreneur.podcast.com.
Yeah.
And with the same name as your book, right? Reluctant Entrepreneur, available on Amazon. And
Amazon, it's on Kindle, it's on the Audible book through Audible and Amazon. Yeah, I'll skywrite it over your house. I'll paint your door. I'll scribe it for you. Any way to get the message out.
And if you haven't ever attended Mike's professional development course on cleaning,
You need to.
fantastic. I've seen it twice. I know Daniel has. Sean didn't like it the first time, so he
So he
hasn't
didn't-
been
yeah,
back
yeah,
since.
that's
But
We lost Sean on day one. right?
yeah.
Sean just couldn't get his head around all the talk of Romans.
Yeah. He's like, they use those funny numbers,
Yeah. A lot of, I don't know.
We haven't actually
I enjoyed
mentioned it.
A lot
I
of
actually
V's
enjoyed
and lines.
We haven't brought it up at all this show or for a long time. That's right, because we went to Dallas.
Yes, for the cleaning and control.
That's right. That's what it was. And you didn't. That's
Literally almost every gas station is fixed. I'm thankful that this is our last
You were at the
recording.
Star event, weren't you?
I was texting them in the background and be like, "Hey, I'm at the hotel. Where are you guys?" Right? And they would like delay. They didn't text me all week. It was the rudest thing I've ever experienced in my life. And then I'd be like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. And I'd say things like that. Right. And then when they went out to Boston recently, I was like, hey, I'm in Dallas. Where are you guys? Right? Like, so
That's awesome.
it's a running bit of my absence in life. And honestly, I would go. I just don't have permission to.
Yeah.
Well, Mike, thanks for coming on with us. And
Thanks for having me. It's always great to sit down with you guys. Like I said earlier, I'm a big fan, and just keep up the great work you're doing.
thank you. And genuinely thank you for all that you've done for us and continue to do for us.
I'm happy to be part of it. So a tiny little part of it. So someday I'll write a book about how I used to sit in your chair. You know, I turned down Leno and Carson, and I was want to sit. Well, they're not even around anymore, but doing what they did, sedated. Anyway,
the new ones
I'm in
are
this
awful.
chair. That's what matters.
So you picked the right one. Picked the right one.
Thanks, Mike.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.